Lagos Business School, Pan-Atlantic University.
The main motivation for the book is that we looked across different developing and emerging markets, focusing on the issue of corporate governance failures in these countries. And we noticed that across these developing and emerging markets, there is consistent and persistent corporate governance failures across all of them. So we wanted to find out the reasons why they have this kind of corporate governance failures, in the sense that most of the countries adopted or got their corporate governance model from developed countries, particularly what we call Anglo-American model of corporate governance that preaches dispersed ownership and primacy of shareholders and all sorts. So the principal motivation is to find out why is that these countries have perennial corporate governance failures. So that's the main motivation, to see how we can understand it, examine it, and possibly provide suggestions or solutions to address this corporate governance failure. The intended audience can be said to be wide, in the sense that the book is currently sold across the world. Because we focused on BRICS countries and Mint countries. BRICS, I mean Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And Mint, we looked at Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. And we also added Iran as an Islamic country that is also emerging and developing rapidly. So we looked at all these countries, and there are some common findings or common outcomes. One is that they have corporate governance failure. One is that their structure of ownership is concentrated. Three is that the regulations and rules of corporate governance are not really observed or followed or enforced, as the case may be. So, given the findings of this book, the usage or the application of the findings should be wide in terms of across all these countries, not only on macro level, but also micro level, in terms of companies, in terms of regulatory agencies, to look at the findings and say, okay, what can we do to improve our corporate governance challenges? So we discovered, as I said before, that the model that they are using, it might not really be the best for them, that the structure of ownership is mainly concentrated and the rules are not properly followed. So it's applicable globally in terms of we have developing and emerging markets in different parts of the globe, and it's also applicable on individual companies. That is, companies can now look and say, okay, is this really the best model for us to follow? Can we really address and see how we can improve? And also for regulators in different countries to see that this is not the best for them. For example, particularly like in Nigeria, the Central Bank, Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, PENCOM for the pension sector, NICOM for the insurance sector, and now the Federal Reporting Council is trying to collate all these corporate governance codes. So now look at it and say, okay, these are the challenges that we have in Nigeria. How can we bring about a model that will bring about a better corporate governance model? And let's remember that corporate governance is very important for economic growth. But we are talking about public-private partnership that will lead to economic development. So if we don't have good governance, then there is no way you can have private sector growth in the economy. And we say that good governance is good business. So if you improve corporate governance, that means you've enthroned or you're enhancing good business, which will now lead to economic growth, job creation, financial stability, and other benefits of corporate governance. Following what I will call a successful publishing of this book, we've been commissioned already by Routledge to do a second book that is called Enhancing Board Effectiveness in Developing and Emerging Markets. So it's more or less that Routledge or the publisher believe that this one was successful, and we've noticed that there is many other research that we can do from this study. One is how do we enhance board effectiveness in developing and emerging markets? How do we make sure that the boards understand their roles and responsibilities to bring about a very, very good corporate governance? Second is that we are looking for virtually all developing and emerging markets in terms of countries. They are all looking for foreign investors. So they will be able to understand, or we are trying to investigate, what are they supposed to do to attract more foreign direct investment in their countries. What do investors really want? And how would they be able to bring about that governance model that will be very attractive to investors, because they will look at issues like rule of law, regulatory quality, government effectiveness, ease of doing business, and these are all related to corporate governance. So we are going to look at these issues to see how can we create a better environment to attract investors. So these are different study areas that we're also trying to look at. And another thing that came out, which we are trying to look at, is the impact of culture, norms and values on corporate governance. So what kind of model do we really need for developing an emerging market? Is it a universal? Will it be one model, or will every country look at their culture, their norms and values, and now see how they can develop the model that really suits them? Or will it be a model that can be adopted and localized to suit different developing and emerging markets? So these are about 4 areas that we are presently looking at, but we are starting with the issue of board effectiveness. Then we'll now go to the issue of culture. We'll now go to the issue of rule of law, regulatory quality, government effectiveness, and ease of doing business. And we'll now look at the different countries in terms of which one will work for them and which one will not work for them.
Lagos Business School, Pan Atlantic University.